let's just get right to it. Most of what you've been taught about success is flat out wrong. You've been told to focus on your batting average, get more hits, be right more often. Well, that's the illusion, and today we're going to shatter it.
Okay, so to kick things off, I've got a story for you that seems to break all the rules of logic. It's a story about a man who built a billion-dollar fortune by failing over and over and over again.
So let me just ask you this directly. Does that even sound possible? I mean, to be monumentally wrong on almost every single decision you make, and yet you end up not just okay, but spectacularly wealthy? The answer, believe it or not, is a definite yes.
Meet Heinz Berggruen. He was an art dealer, and he collected thousands and thousands of paintings. Now, by any normal measure, his track record was just atrocious. 99% of his entire collection turned out to be basically worthless. But here's the twist. It didn't matter. Not one bit, because that final 1%, those were Picasso's. And that tiny sliver was so powerful, so valuable, it didn't just cover his failures, it made them completely irrelevant.
You see, Berggruen's story just nails this fundamental disconnect we all have. We're taught to treat money like it's a math problem, something you solve on a spreadsheet. But it's not. It's a psychological game. It's driven by our own fear and greed and dopamine. And today, we're going to fix the faulty software in your head that's been playing this game all wrong.
So, why do we get this so backwards? Well, it's because the way we measure success is fundamentally broken. We're all using the wrong meter, focusing on completely the wrong things.
Okay, so check this out. It really boils down to two different ways of thinking. The spreadsheet mindset, the one we're all kind of conditioned to use, it's always asking, how often am I right? It's totally obsessed with the frequency of wins, that high batting average. But the long-tail mindset, it asks a radically different question. How much do I gain when I'm right? It completely ignores batting average and focuses only on the sheer size, the magnitude of the wins. It's not about how many times you hit the ball. It's about that one time you knock it clear out of the park.
This quote just perfectly illustrates the whole idea. You can be wrong constantly as long as your losses are small and manageable. But your few wins, they have to be absolutely massive. So if it's all about these huge, rare wins, the big question is, how do you find them? And maybe even more importantly, how do you build a strategy that's designed to survive the 99% of the time you're just failing? That's the secret we're going to unlock next.
The secret engine that's driving this entire phenomenon is a concept from statistics called tails. And let me tell you, it's the hidden force behind pretty much every major success story you can think of, from venture capital to the stock market, even to your own career.
So, what in the world is a tail event? Well, simply put, it's an outlier. It's a 1 in a million shot that lives way out at the extreme end, the long tail of all possible outcomes. Think of it like this. It's like earthquakes. You have thousands of tiny little tremors you don't even notice, and then one big one comes along that has more power than all the others combined. That is a tail event.
And if you think this is just some interesting theory, you have to look at the cold, hard data. It's staggering. A study looked at thousands of stocks over decades. What did it find? 40% were catastrophic failures. They lost almost all their value. Most of the rest were, just mediocre. But here's the shocking part. Just 7% of the companies were responsible for all of the market's gains. 7%. Everything else was basically a rounding error. That is the insane power of tails.
And this isn't just a stock market thing. It is everywhere. Think about it. Amazon's tried selling phones, diapers, you name it. But its world-changing growth was driven by two tail events, Prime and AWS. Apple's entire destiny was defined by one, the iPhone. Even the master himself, Warren Buffett, admitted he's owned over 400 stocks in his life, but he made most of his money on just 10 of them. Tails drive everything.
So here's the really crucial point. This is the wealth trap that so many people fall into. Your entire financial future. It isn't decided during those calm years when everything's on cruise control. Nope. It's forged in those brief punctuated moments of sheer terror. The market crashes, the panics. How you behave when everyone else is losing their minds is pretty much the only thing that matters.
Okay, so if your entire success is defined by these rare, terrifying moments, how do you prepare for them? How do you actually win a game that feels so random and, honestly, so unfair?
It really comes down to installing a new mental operating system. First, you have to make peace with failure. Seriously, a lot of your bets should fail. It's not a bug, it's a feature of this whole strategy. Second, stop trying to be a genius and start optimizing for endurance. Your only real edge is time. You have to stay in the game long enough for the tails to actually find you. And third, and this is probably the hardest part psychologically, when you do find a winner, have the courage to do nothing. Just let it run. Your few successes have to get so big that they make every single failure irrelevant.
So here's the new way to think about it. You are not playing baseball trying for a solid batting average. You are drilling for oil. You fully expect to drill 100 dry holes. You accept that cost. Why? Because you know that the one gusher you eventually hit will pay for everything 100 times over.
And this brings us right back to the beginning. In a world that's driven by tails, genius isn't about making brilliant predictions. It's about having the emotional fortitude to just do the simple average thing, to hold on, to stick to the plan when the world around you is panicking. The real question is, can you stomach the 99% of failures long enough to see the 1% that changes everything?
So, the next time you feel that pressure to be right all the time, just remember the long tail illusion. True success isn't about your batting average. It's about having the endurance to wait for the one home run that changes the entire game. Thanks for joining me in this explainer.